Forced labor is any type of work or service where people are coerced. They work under conditions that they have not freely chosen, and then they cannot leave without losing, for instance, their salary, or without being threatened, or without being restricted to actually leave the place where they are. Some people call this modern-day slavery, others call it trafficking, but it's all captured by this notion of forced labor. It also includes prostitution or forced begging. It doesn't have to be formal work. It can be any type of service. According to our most recent estimates, we think that there are about 21 million men, women and children trapped in forced labor, meaning they cannot really leave the situation. They are severely abused and exploited in different sectors. In absolute number, Asia is the region that is most affected by slavery or forced labor, in particular bonded labor. We think that more than 11 million victims are in Asia. And then Africa is another region that is very much affected, followed by Latin America, the Middle East and industrialized countries. The main sectors are agriculture, in many, especially in developing countries, but also in industrialized countries. We also see a lot of forced labor in domestic work or care work, in the entertainment industry, of course, in construction and in manufacturing. We see a lot of legislative action now being taken. The majority of UN and ILO member states have enacted laws against trafficking, sometimes also specifically laws against forced labor or slavery. But first of all, we have helped member states to revise their legislation, to bring laws and policy in line with international standards and good practice. But more importantly, we've also helped member states to implement these laws and policies. And where we see the main problem is actually in the enforcement. Many victims are never identified. Out of the 21 million victims, we think that only tens of thousands are actually ever identified. So the majority, we don't know where they are, and they continue suffering. So what we've done is we've worked with the police, with the labor inspectors, with the judges and prosecutors to sensitize them, to make them understand that this is not a minor labor law violation, but this is actually a crime that needs serious attention, that these victims are often afraid to talk to them, and that they need help. We think that a lot more can be done to involve business and the private sector. We have worked with the employers' organizations for many years, and they have also supported the Global Business Alliance Against Forced Labor. And we see more and more companies now also coming to us and asking for advice, how they can improve their supply chain operations, their internal policies to prevent forced labor. The contribution of business would be to look more closely into their supply chains, where the products are coming from, and to improve management practices down the supply chain, engage their suppliers, raise their awareness, develop policies and internal procedures to identify problems early on, before they even turn into a situation of forced labor. As a consumer, you can contribute by just asking some more questions, where your t-shirt is coming from, or under what conditions the person working, helping you in your household is actually employed. And then you can also write letters to your deputy or to the government to ask for more effective action. That has an impact as well. And finally, there are many groups, community groups all over the world that have been created to actually take direct action to assist victims and to raise awareness. You can join these groups.